This is all gear driven. There are no hydraulics. Okay. This has a 20-to-1 gear reduction, so it gives you all the same compression that you're used to, but it gives it to you in 5.5 pounds. So it's very light, very easy to handle, and again, it's very clean. No hose, so you're not having to balance this up when you connect it to a panel. It's sturdy. You don't have to worry about tension or pressure on the fittings on the hose. Okay. Now there's two real distinct advantages to this knockout set. The first is the actual drive. The second are our cups and cutting dies. Now, these aren't just a throw-in. There's an actual difference here. And the first thing that you'll notice is that we've got alignment lines on both the cup and the cutting die. Okay, so all competitors have them undercut, but you can't barely see them. Number one, and these are all etched in. Number two, on the cutting die, you're not going to see them on anybody else's cutting dies. Okay. Now, as far as the cutting die, it's a shallow 3-point tip, which doesn't look very aggressive, but it actually makes a big difference. When we do this, knockout, you see. We also have a little bit of recessed threading on that draw stud. That helps to do a couple of things. Seat and thread your cutters a little bit faster. You don't have to worry about trying to line up threads. And it also prevents you from losing the threading or boogering up the threading on your draw stud if you're to tip it over, drop it, or something like that. Okay. Now, for this max punch, all you need is an 18-volt cordless. We provide a couple of 3/8 nut drivers that you just use to chuck on like this. When I do this knockout, notice I'm not going to be fighting this. I'm going to leave my hand open because there is no torque transfer on this. Okay. I'm just run it on high here. Okay. Pretty fast, pretty impressive. The second little miracle with our cups and cutting dies, there's no binding. Okay? And that's part of that shallow 3-point tip. Now the third step, and this is all the process of doing a knockout, we got to get that slug out, right? Every time. So from the actual compression to the release of the cup and cutting die to the release of the slug, that's night and day. That's head and shoulders above the rest, okay? Now, we just did one knockout. Was it pretty impressive? It is. It's a pretty slick deal. We were able to do it on this 4-square plate. Didn't even contort that 4-square plate. Didn't distort it at all. Nice clean cut, okay? But if we were talking about 1 or 2 knockouts, maybe that's not so impressive. But think about a job where you got 100 knockouts, or 2 or 3 or 400 knockouts. I could do 1,000 knockouts. And the only thing I'm doing is pulling a trigger. So there's a direct benefit on this, there's an indirect benefit. The direct benefit is it's efficient, it's clean, it's safe. Okay? The indirect benefit is if I'm done or when I'm done with that task, I'm still 100%. I walk away to go to my next task, I'm still 100%. You put somebody on 100 4-inch knockouts on a hydraulic set, what do you got? You got somebody who just got beat up. You got big arms. You got a canceled gym membership is what you got. And when they're done with that, they've been taxed. They've been physically taxed. Then they got a mess too. Okay? With this, it's completely different. Okay, so that's our max punch. This is a 2-inch set for the max punch. The 4-inch set for the max punch is this 2-inch set and this large die kit, which is 2.5-inch through 4-inch cups and cutting dies. Same benefit. The thread type on here will fit any of your existing cups and cutting dies, so this does not make your existing equipment, your existing investment obsolete. Okay? And matter of fact, your larger cups will fit down on this sleeve here. Ours don't need it. All the way up to 4-inch, they actually fit right on top. You don't need a spacer or reducer or nipple adapter to use ours up to 4-inch on this. Okay? But you can use a nipple adapter or one of the competitors and the cutting die on top of that. So pretty slick. Scheduled maintenance on this, a shot of grease in 3 years. A lot of contractors will actually just give it a shot before a big job. You can't overfill it because there is no seal inside there. So if you did overfill it, the only thing you're going to do is get a discharge out of the backside. And after you shift it a few times, wipe it off, you're done. Okay? So that's another nice benefit. To replace that draw stud, if for some reason you were to actually break that draw stud, remove those 4 bolts right there. That cap's going to come off, draw out the old, put in the new. It's about a 2-minute fix. There's some other details along with it, but when you get a replacement drop stud, there's a instruction sheet in there, and it walks you through the steps. All right, so this is rated for 10 gauge mild steel. Then